What's up, guys? Welcome to AddiktGaming's first podcast ever, revolving mostly around Guild Wars 2. So if you have any friends, make sure you share it with them. If they want to keep up with Guild Wars 2 news and updates, they can get it right here at Addict Gaming. I am your host, Burden. Alongside me is my co-host, Saris. What's up, Saris?
Hey, not much. I'm just excited to be here.
Alright, good. Me too. Before we start in the topics, there are two things I want to talk about. The first one is we are looking for questions for future podcasts, so if you do have a question that you want us to answer on the podcast, make sure you leave a comment below or you send us a message on YouTube, and hopefully we can get to your question on the next podcast. Another thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the discussion is Guild Wars 2 is on sale until April 28th, so if you are planning on buying another copy or you want to buy a copy for a friend as a gift, or if you even have a friend who's kind of interested in Guild Wars 2 but doesn't want to buy it at the full price, make sure that they buy the game before April 28th because they can save 30%. So head over to guildwars2.com and check it out over there. Alright, so if you guys don't know, there's a big update coming to Guild Wars 2 on the 30th of April, which is just a few days away. There is a ton of stuff that they're going to put in, quite a few big things. So, Saris, what are you most anticipating?
The custom arenas that'll be coming out. We actually got one early because they released them early by accident and for a cheaper price too.
How much did we spend? I remember they came out on the forums and said, like, whoops, we didn't mean to put those on the trading post. And we ended up buying one, and they said, well, when it comes out, those are actually going to be a lot more expensive, so we got a pretty good deal on it.
It only cost me 200 gems, which is very nice.
Oh, what is that? That's probably like 4 gold, 5 gold maybe?
Yeah, at the time was about 4 gold.
Sweet. So yeah, they're giving it to select people, which is kind of sucks for other people who would want to open up their own custom arena. But at the beginning, what they're doing is they're opening up for the top 50 people with the top 50 qualifying points, and then they're giving it to some professional teams as well, European and American, and then they're giving it to a few select media sites. So I guess we're one of those media sites now that we have a custom arena.
Even though we weren't chosen.
We spent a lot less for it. Yeah, we got a nice deal. So if you guys want to come into our custom arena later on, it's going to be called, I think it's going to be called Addict Gaming's Cauldron of Pleasures. So come on in and make sure you have a good time. Hopefully in the future we can host tournaments. That'd be pretty cool, right?
Yes, it would. And I think we might even have some cash prizes.
Well, gold prizes, not cash prizes, right?
That's what I meant.
You play Guild Wars 2 too much.
I know. Guild Wars 2 is life.
So how much cash do you have in Guild Wars 2 right now? No, I was just joking.
No.
But yeah, we'll probably do some tournaments, offer up a nice big gold prize, so get some teams in there. So if you guys are interested in something like that, hopefully we can organize some small tournaments in the future. And it would be great if they turn into big ones. We could offer up even better prizes. So, but yeah, that's something we've been thinking about. Well, along with custom arenas, they're also releasing spectator mode, right, sirs? I don't know. Out of spectator mode, like I actually am really upset about. They're selecting only a few people to do the shoutcasting. That I really am upset about that because it's something I wanted to do in the future is just go on to the rated tournaments and then spectate and then do some commentaries. That's something I was actually really planning on.
Yeah, that was actually pretty sad when I saw that as well. Thinking, that's going to cut bread pretty deep. I know we wanted that. I don't know why they're actually doing it like that. They say it's to grow the shoutcasting community, but you're not really growing it if you're cutting out everyone else who wants to just start doing that. You're just taking a couple of the top guys who may or may not do it.
No, it's not growing it at all, is it? I mean, think of League of Legends and some of the casters that came from there. I think of StarCraft 2, or even StarCraft Brood War. Look at all the commentators that came out of there. Because they didn't limit it. They didn't say like, oh, just the top players could do it. So you know, it sucks for the rest of you guys. Anyway, like back to the main point. I mean, these people might not even be around, or might not even be popular. This, you know, Husky StarCraft, he wouldn't be around if they limited the shoutcasting. I don't understand. This has happened before too. It's like with ArenaNet. It's just like they say they want to grow something, but what they're doing is actually hurting it. The other big one was the no advertising. That whole big whatever, the whole thing that came out of someone posted on the forums from ArenaNet that you're not supposed to advertise on the videos, and then pretty much the whole Twitch community died in Guild Wars 2, and then YouTube as well. It's
Yeah,
not Guild Wars 2 is not really that popular on YouTube. So what they're doing is they're killing it. They think they're helping it grow or something, but they're killing it.
they're not fostering the amateur community, which is that's where everyone starts. You're not gonna if the big shoutcasters and everyone who does YouTube videos and stuff aren't there already. They're not gonna come now. Game's already well into it. We're 6 months in.
It's like they try to start at the finish line. You know what I mean? They didn't let the game grow. They
Yeah.
didn't let the community grow. It's just, okay, it's a game. It's an esports game now. You know.
And even within the hardcore game, how many of them are willing to shoutcast? And will they actually, initially they're not actually having it for the team matches, so will they be busy doing the tournament matches and not on their own servers? Actually doing shoutcast? Who are they going to take? Do they just want high level players?
I don't know. It's a really. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what they do with it and how they limit that shoutcasting community because, man, that's. I don't know. I was pretty upset about it. I don't know how other people feel about it, but I was like, oh, I can't wait till spectator mode comes out because I want to record and like I want to do commentaries and stuff on the games. I know enough about PvP that I can do that kind of thing. And then it's like only a select few people will be able to do it. It's like, oh, come on, you gotta be kidding. You're killing it, man. You're killing it.
Hopefully, though, in another 6 months they realise their mistake.
Yeah, hopefully. I guess it just comes down to how strictly are they going to regulate that. You know what I mean? What are they gonna hold auditions or something?
Oh god. When you start getting that serious, who are they going to how are they going to do their auditions? Would we have to go to the States, into their office and do it?
It's like going on to
'Cause
American Idol.
Yeah. That's definitely not going to happen.
That's why I think it's like they have people already in mind who they want to do it. Or maybe they have some sort of partnerships with people to do it. Because for me, I would think, well, how would they pick these people? Unless like you're extremely popular or something like that. But just because you're extremely popular doesn't mean you're going to be a great shoutcaster.
That doesn't mean you actually want to do it either.
Yeah, that too. So, yeah, whatever. Let's go over to a happier topic, I think. Well, the living story. What do you think about that?
I do like the Norn side of things. Char side, yeah. They went for like the cutesy Char, which just looks like crazy. Oh my god, have you seen its eyes?
You can't do a cutesy char. What are they thinking?
I know. Although the little baby devourer though, it's sick. I love that thing. So cute. We do find out that in the Norn story, is a MILF. Yay!
MILF. Nice. Yeah, I called my video on that story. I said Braham's wingman because it's basically what you are. You're helping him get his lady.
Yep.
That's what wingmen do, man. And well, the one thing I was disappointed about those two things. I thought the stories were okay. It was a little short, but I did have fun while I was doing it. It felt the Norn side and the Char side, as far as the mechanics of going into the story, felt very similar. That's how it felt to me. What about you?
Yeah, they were. I think they were just meant to set up the stage for this event. So it was just a small little introduction. You go in to help Braham, you find out that his missus is missing. And then with the Char one, you go and you see that the Char have invaded the hatchery and stuff. And you clear them out, and then I think with this one is where they'll meet up and, brofist, and then go in and kill some Molten Alliance guys.
You have to bro fist before you go into the dungeon. the thing I wonder about the living story is, does the time people put into it, so for example, for the Norn and the Char combines maybe what, half an hour or so it took me to do both sides. Is that time worth the development cost that it takes them to actually make something like that?
For something like that, I don't think it would have actually taken that much, because they weren't. It was just a small part of it, and we won't really until we see the big picture. I mean, is this next dungeon going to be long enough? If it's a couple of hours long and has a decent amount of content, and maybe if you've got follow-up events and things, or just like how they've got the little instances now that lead up to the dungeon, then I think it will be worth it. It really depends how this next event pans out, because this is all just setting up the stage. Some of the things could have done with more explanation, like to their purpose, like the periscopes. Why are there periscopes?
Probably, they're probably just going to be weapons in the dungeon, right?
They could be. I do hope they actually, with the survivors, they do something with that, because that was in the first phase of this whole event. That was pretty big, a big thing. And are they going to talk about what happens to these refugees? Are they going to make a new town? Are they just going to go back out into the field? Can they actually go back out there when the Molten of Legion just raised all their shit?
That's a very good question. Yeah, I mean, the thing about the first part, what was nice about it is you could chase achievements, and it actually took. It's not just like you hop into the instance and do the story real quick and you're done with it. It actually took time to get the achievements. More time for some than others, but it was something that they released that was a little repetitive, but it wasn't repetitive for long enough to where it felt like really boring. But it was repetitive enough to where I think you got more playtime out of it than you did with the last one. Just my thoughts anyway. But as far as the dungeon goes, hopefully it is just setting up the stage, because they did say that even with the hardcore it's PvP, even with the hardcore dungeon group, that it's going to take about an hour to get through this new dungeon. So I'm curious how long it would take 5 casual players to get through it.
Hopefully that they can actually get through it, because I know initially some of the dungeons were a bit crazy, like Path 1 for COF, that when we first went there, the game had first launched, that giant molten effigy thing, he just destroyed us. We couldn't kill the crystals fast enough and everything. I'm hoping it's not a repeat of that, because that wouldn't be very fun. But hopefully they do bring nice and exciting mechanics to the fight. So, because with the fractals, they started bringing in things like that, which is very nice.
Yeah, like the colossal fractal everyone complains about, but I love that one. I think that has some of the coolest mechanics in one of the dungeons in Guild Wars 2.
I think the main reason why people complained about it was it's not as rewarding as the other one. Through it, the mobs in it, they barely drop anything. It takes a long time to get through, and you just pretty much get the same rewards at the end chest, which is a bit sad.
It's okay for me. I mean, I think the fun factor on that one's a little higher. If like I'm not thinking about the rewards, I had a lot of fun on that one.
Mechanics wise, it's great. It's one of the better ones.
Yeah, like the underwater one, it's pretty short, and maybe people like that one because it's short, but the mechanics of it aren't really that great. I mean, you swim as a little dolphin for half the map, which is fun, I guess. But when you fight the jellyfish is pretty easy. Or is it a jellyfish? What is that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big jellyfish.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, and I think, I don't know, just because I guess people just focus on the rewards too much, maybe. But I think I love the colossal one. I wouldn't mind getting that again when I go into the fractals. But anyway, we digress a little bit about this dungeon. So they're apparently having new, not a new team, but the team that did the Winter's Day events. They're actually taking care of this dungeon. The regular dungeon team's not doing this one, which brings up a couple of things in my mind. For one, does it show like maybe they lack confidence in their original dungeon development team, or maybe just because this Winter's Day the team that made the Winter's Day events, maybe they're more involved in the living story.
Yeah, I'd say that it's because they're more involved in the living story. They know the backstory of all the characters. They don't have to be brought up to speed in designing it. Really make the dungeon flow as they want the living story to pan out. Whereas if you have the dungeon team, they have to learn everything and then double check with the living story team, which can be a bit chaotic at times.
Yeah, I can see that. That's cool. I mean, I love the Winter's Day events at the Texas Infinitarium. I thought that was pretty fun. I wonder if they also made like the Snowball Mayhem and stuff like that. If they did, I mean, I'm totally on board with this dungeon. Because they also did say that the first thing they focused on in this dungeon was the bosses. They basically did, whenever they designed something, they did the reverse of it. They made the bosses, they made sure the bosses were, they said, massive in scale and challenging. So I'm actually really excited to get into this dungeon and see what it's all about. So hopefully they do a good job. I mean, uh, I wonder how much story is going to be told in the dungeon. But I'm not really worried about the story as much as I am just going into the dungeon and having fun. They also said it's supposed to be very repeatable, so I mean, hey, that's great.
I think one thing I'd also imagine is if the dungeon team isn't on, they're probably in the works for making some extra dungeons stuff that's not to do with the living story, which
Hey,
could be quite nice.
maybe they're just busy. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even. That's not what I really thought of when I first heard of it. But yeah, maybe they're just busy working on some new stuff. That's pretty cool. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
maybe that fractals list is gonna expand a bit.
Do remember they say they wanted to work on and expand on that. So fingers crossed we get some more content.
Hell yeah, they've been pouring content down our throats. So I love the way they put out content. And they're really, they really just they don't care how much content they give us. But I think they also do need to take a step back a little bit and make sure that they're fixing the things they need to fix. Actually talking about it, it reminds me of a post before where the dungeon, I don't remember his name, how he said they are actually going back into all the dungeons and fixing the boss mechanics and the boss encounters. So maybe that's what they're busy doing. They're going back through all the dungeons and making sure it's challenging enough. And I think they did a great job with the waypoint. Not being able to waypoint rush. That was when I first did my AC run when I was level 30. I couldn't believe I could do that. I thought that was like they didn't even think about people doing this. Like I can waypoint and I'm right next to the fight, and we can just keep doing this until we win. This is stupid.
Yeah, that was not one of their better decisions. I suppose they thought originally, oh, no one can heal, so if someone dies, they want to get into the fight, but it really made for poor mechanics.
Yeah, now that you go into some dungeons where you can't waypoint rush, you actually have to. Actually, the encounters got a little bit harder just changing that. You know what I mean? Because you can't just waypoint and then run back. You have to actually beat the boss without your team wiping.
It gave you more of a focus on the actual mechanics of the fight than just, I can sit here and do all my damage and just unleash everything I've got, and then if I die, I can just respawn and run back.
Yeah, it reminds me of well, they don't do it in the outside world when you do the guild bounties. What's the name of the one in Lonar's Pass? The one that puts conditions on you and you can't damage it. So you just kind of lure
Oh
it.
god.
You lure it towards a waypoint. So if you can just die and then use the waypoint, and then you don't have conditions, then burst him real quick and then die. And that's what I was doing anyway. I don't know if that's what other people
Oh
do.
no. Bookworm Wiki?
Bookworm
Bookworm
Bookie.
Wiki? I think
Yeah.
that's. Oh god. The nightmares when we first encountered that thing. Oh, it's just a little script. What's it gonna do? Why is it killing? Why are we dead? Why can't we damn? Oh my god.
I think it was
Yeah.
the first it was the first time I remember we had like 15 people on it, didn't we? And no one knew
We
what they were
did.
doing. Everyone, even now, some people still think that boss is hard, but the boss is so easy when you know the mechanic of it, or the mechanics of it. We didn't know. We're like, oh no, it's like taking no damage and just AoEing the shit out of all of us. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Oh man.
It was hilarious.
Have you been enjoying the guild missions and stuff like that?
I do. I have been enjoying them. We've actually been getting into them quite regularly. We've got You got the guild rushes coming up this weekend. It should be good. Hopefully we can get at least one done before they bring in the extra ones. Which, yeah, they actually are bringing in extra missions this patch as well. Should be very nice. I think 30 new guild trek locations, a new rush, which is going to turn you into a quaggin.
Ooh.
That one, I think, should be hilarious. Watching just a little field of quaggins being slaughtered as we have no idea what we're doing.
And they make, when
Yeah.
they die, their death animation is so funny. The noises they make is so terrifying.
We experienced that the other night after murdering those cod guards.
Yeah.
We finally sat and listened to it and we went, oh my god,
It's so
what was that?
terrifying.
What was that?
Yeah. Sends shivers down your back, like the way they scream. Oh my god. It's like we're just skinning them alive or something for their, for their blubber. And you can just hear how, like, loud and just, it's like a high pitched shriek. Ugh. But yeah, about the guild missions. The guild treks are way too easy, especially if you have a guide. I know you and me, we could probably do a tier 3 on our own. And the guild bounties are really fun. There's just a couple on there that are like really, really freaking annoying. Was it the one in Gendern Fields, the one that hides in the barrels? Oh, that's so annoying. When we've gotten that, we've had a group out there, maybe 2 or 3 times, and we've broken probably like, I don't know, what, 40 barrels, and you can never find the guy. That was
I've hated those ones. There's the rat catching one as well. Oh god.
The rat catching one is in, what zone is that in?
That was in the, what's the zone below Blaze Ridge? Fields of Ruin? Is that the one?
Yeah, it's over there somewhere,
Yeah,
by the char.
Yeah.
And then the one in, which one is it? Where the Shatterer is? What zone is that? That's the Blaze Ridge steps, right?
Blaze Ridge. Yeah. His one, he just has a giant path.
Yeah, the boss is easy, but the path is so freaking big. It's so long. But anyway, as a whole, yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't help that we don't really have everyone with dual monitors, so they're always having to flick back between the maps to see the paths.
I just play in window mode when we do it. I don't see what's so hard about that. Why do you have to alt tab? Just play in window mode and then have the little guide right next to it. They don't do that? They actually alt tab all the time?
They do.
Why? It's so easy just playing in window mode.
I love window mode. I always used to use that before I got my second monitor.
You have YouTube on one side and then the game on the other. That's how I always was.
Yep.
But yeah, as the guild missions as a whole, I love. I can't wait to do these guild rushes. Those are gonna be awesome.
The guild challenges as well. I know it's a while away for us, but it should be good once we start doing them.
Those are supposed to be kind of like almost like the raids for a guild, right? I heard the one person who tested it before they came out, he said that they had a bunch of people there and developers and stuff, and it took them like 4 hours, and they finally beat it or something. Like they had to keep trying over and over again. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he was basically saying they couldn't do it.
Wow. Does that actually bode well for anyone to do it?
Well, I don't know, because when Ascalonian Catacombs, when they did it in beta, they said that the developers and a few other people played in it and they couldn't finish explorable mode, so I'm not sure what it means.
Does it just mean they're bad? Maybe it does.
I hope not. I guess it depends on what developers are with you.
This is true. I mean, to be honest, I'd rather them be really good at developing a game than being good at playing a game and being bad at developing.
Yeah, it's much better if they can develop the game instead of just playing it. For sure. Alright, well, what else do we have to talk about? So yeah, what they say is the biggest balance sweeps for structured PvP to date. Largest number of split skills between PvE and PvP. That sounds very, very interesting. I can't wait to read the patch notes when those come out.
Same. I'm really looking forward to the changes of the range. I know on mine, I can generally keep my pet alive, but it does become a bit of a hassle sometimes, especially if you get fights like Subject Alpha, where he's just coating the ground in AoE. Hopefully they also take a look at the spirits too.
Spirits.
And
yes.
I do think they need to open up the viability of some builds. Some classes people just won't have if you're not running the two viable main specs in them.
Yeah, I know that's one of their big concerns is getting all the builds to become viable, which is probably why they have to split a lot of the skills between PvE and PvP. Like the spirits, I mean, I know they're going to reduce AoE damage for some skills, but as it is right now, the spirits usually just kind of melt away in AoE, which is unfortunate because I love the spirit builds and I wish it was an actual viable builds in PvP. It reminds me of Guild Wars 1 with the what's the ritualist? He could summon out the spirits and they could do different things. I mean, that's kind of what
Yeah,
the ranger is with the spirits, so it's unfortunate that it doesn't work now. What I think they could do with
yeah,
the spirits is not even just give more health, but reduce the cooldown by a lot. So you could kind of summon it and then expect them to die in a short time, and then you can resummon them in just like maybe I don't know, maybe like 20 seconds or so. I don't know what the cooldown is now, like 60 seconds.
yeah. It lasts. The cooldown's about the same as the duration, so when it's over, you can resummon it. But if they do it earlier, then it's normally gone. I think maybe they could just do with reducing the cooldowns, but maybe just increase the cast time a bit to make it more of a choice. Do I want to risk summoning out this, or do I want to get to safety and then resummon my spirits and get back into the fight? So not just buff bots that are there constantly. It's stopping them from becoming too strong, but at the same time making them a lot more user friendly.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to, in the way I think about it, you would have to make them too strong to begin with, just so you could kind of find the middle. I don't know, because right now they're pretty worthless. Even though I just love the builds, like with the Stone Spirit and the Sun Spirit giving you burning and protection, and you can kind of put your runes and your traits around that. And I think there's a lot of synergy between that. But right now it's just like, when they're up, they're great for your team. They're giving your team all protection and burning quite a bit, and that's, it's really good. But the problem is they just don't stay up.
I suppose that's also one of the benefits of splitting the skills. You can use PvE as sort of like a test environment initially for something, and World Reward 2. Just making sure that they're not too strong and it doesn't affect the tournament play that much.
How come ArenaNet doesn't have a public test server like some other games do? I think that would help out a lot too.
Yeah, I've always wondered that. I know they've got a whole bunch of people that they'll send out to do alpha builds of patches, but I don't know how to get into that. I think they might be invite only.
Yeah, they seem to like doing that. It's kind of their style. Anyway, well, I'm pretty excited about all the balances that are supposed to be coming to PvP. I really want to read the patch notes and see everything they do. I know that there is a screenshot that came up with one of the developers wearing, he's a warrior and he's wearing all signets, so people were making fun of him, but he said, I loved his response. He said, we have to play the bad builds to learn how to make them good, or something like that, which I thought was a very good response to people kind of mocking him, saying he sucks because he's running those builds. But it is, they need to understand why this build is weak. And, yeah, I mean, hopefully it looks like maybe we might see signet changes in this next patch. So they kind of hinted at it. So maybe warriors are going to be getting a buff again. Well, they kind of need a buff because they have a lot of people really angry that they nerfed weakness. And they didn't just nerf weakness, I mean, they destroyed
You mean
weakness.
quickness?
Huh?
Quickness.
Quickness.
No.
Sorry, was I saying weakness?
You're saying weakness.
Quickness, yeah.
I guess that's your weakness.
Alright, well, they didn't just nerf it, they destroyed it. So it went from 100% all the way down to 50%. That's a huge, huge nerf. So I know for my backstab thief, I don't bring quickness anymore. I used to, but not anymore. So you could pop quickness and then do 2 or 3 heartseekers really fast, but you could really tell the difference of how much slower it is. So I know a lot of warriors are upset right now, but hopefully, hopefully this patch brings some changes that they'll enjoy. Alright guys, thanks for listening. This has been a podcast of Guild Wars 2 by Addict Gaming with Burden and Saris. I hope you guys are enjoying the game as much as we are. We've been putting in quite a few hours every day in pretty much every aspect of the game. And I hope you're as excited as we are about the new upcoming patch and all the balances and the new dungeon and things like that is going to bring. So stay tuned to our channel. Make sure you subscribe and share it with your friends if you want to stay in the loop with Guild Wars 2 news and updates. Stay addicted.